Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Rolene Marks. This is the Israel Brief, where we meet every Monday to Thursday to take a look at those news headlines hot off the press right here in Israel. And the reason that we bring you the Israel Brief is because here you will get news that's broadcast in Israel, that comes from Israel, that you will not see in the mainstream media in your countries. So if you like our content, please support us by hitting the subscribe button and sharing as wide as possible. As always, the Israel Brief is brought to you in conjunction with Lay of the Land. Now, it is day 466. It is a very tense day here in Israel as we await whether or not we will have a final deal that will start to see the release of our hostages. Now, yesterday, the Hostages and Missing Persons Forum appealed to the public, please not to believe, not to spread rumors. And for a minute, I just want to address certain WhatsApp groups that I know many people follow. And we have to be very, very careful. If you do not get the source where the news comes from, if it is not written in the style that a professional journalist is going to write, if it does not cite official sources, especially when it comes to hostages, and we are waiting for news on 98 hostages, please be very careful. Just because the group might say Israel Live News or Israel Real-Time News doesn't always mean that it is news that is verified. I know one of the groups yesterday shared a WhatsApp saying that 2 hospitals were on standby to receive hostages. This is not true. This is a very, very sensitive time for our hostage families. It is their loved ones that we await word on, and something like that is not just erroneous, but also very cruel to them. So we are appealing to people to please be very, very cautious of the news that you're consuming and that you are sharing. So now let's get on to the latest where we are holding with a prospective hostage deal. Now, it's important to note an Israeli official speaking to the Jerusalem Post early today said we are close, but we are not there yet. And this has been echoed by both the Qataris and by Hamas. The negotiations are still ongoing. President-elect Trump said that there were handshakes exchanged, but we hope that by at least the end of the week, there might be some kind of deal. So I think, we are all hoping and praying. Everybody's got opinions on a possible ceasefire, however long it might last, the exchange of hostages. It is a very, very sensitive and difficult time for all of us in Israel. A Saudi daily, Al-Sharq Al-Awsat, reported that one of the issues is that Hamas are demanding the body of Yahya Sinwar. Israel's not prepared to give the body of Sinwar. This is their report. That report has not been reported in the Israeli media. Meanwhile, earlier today, Itamar Ben-Gvir, one of the far-right leaders of the Otzma Yehudit party, admitted in a post on X that his party had managed to foil hostage deals several times, but that he lacks the political power to do so. He has encouraged his partner Bezalel Smotrich to withdraw from the government and has threatened to withdraw his party from the governing coalition. As we speak, the Prime Minister is meeting with representatives from the Hostage and Missing Persons Forum. So let's take a look at what we do know, what the Israeli media released last night about this possible deal. So I'm going to read to you directly from the text that we were given. In the first phase, we expect 33 hostages, including women, children, and the very ill, to be released. Israel believes most are alive, but has not received full confirmation from Hamas. This phase includes a 42-day ceasefire, which would see Israel pull back to a buffer zone. There are still negotiations around the size of that buffer zone, and hostage negotiations for the further release would take place on day 16 of the agreement. It is expected around 1,300 Palestinian prisoners would be freed, including convicted murderers who would be exiled abroad. No terrorists who perpetrated the October the 7th attacks will be freed. So no Nukhba terrorists will be freed. Hamas has indicated conditional support for the deal contingent on various reports. Now that is according to the BBC. Families of hostages have been protesting in Jerusalem. They say that this deal fails to return all of the hostages. From Israel's perspective, we will maintain control of the Philadelphia corridor and buffer zones, with displaced Palestinians being allowed to return to northern Gaza under strict inspections. And we are hoping that this agreement can be reached before the 20th, which is the inauguration of the incoming Trump administration. Secretary of State Antony Blinken says that the onus is now on Hamas. President Biden has said that he believes that we are closer than ever. So, as I reiterate, we are all hoping to see hostages home. We have been down this road before with Hamas, and while the Qataris are saying this is the closest we have come in weeks, from my perspective, and this is just my opinion, until I see hostages on Israeli soil, I need to see that proof to believe that we have an agreement from Hamas. They have reneged on at least 10 other agreements. So let's see where we go from here. Early this morning at about 3:30, millions of us were, I would say, forced awake by the firing of what the Houthis call a hypersonic missile that they fired towards Jaffa in Tel Aviv. The missile was intercepted. Now, we all ran to our shelters as sirens wailed. This was central Israel that the Houthis targeted. They say that they will keep up this campaign until the aggression against the Palestinians in Gaza ends. The Houthis are the last remaining major proxy to engage in hostilities of this kind against the state of Israel. Yes, we still have ongoing war in the Gaza Strip, and yesterday 5 of our beautiful warriors fell in battle. But the Houthis are the last remaining, we could call external proxy that are engaged in long-distance firing on Israel. Some of the fragments of that missile landed on the roof of a house in Mevo Beitar, just outside Jerusalem. According to Magen David Adom, which is our equivalent of the Red Cross ambulance services, 11 people were injured running to their shelters, but thank goodness nobody was injured seriously or killed. We now go to the United Kingdom, where His Majesty King Charles welcomed 94-year-old Holocaust survivor Manfred Goldberg to Buckingham Palace yesterday. Excuse me. Now, this is ahead of the monarch's visit to Auschwitz later this month to observe the 80th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz and International Holocaust Remembrance Day. The King is the first British monarch who will visit Auschwitz. The late Queen visited Bergen-Belsen before, where she paid moving tribute to Anne Frank, who was murdered at Bergen-Belsen, or rather she died of typhus, but given that she was hunted along with millions of other Jews, Roma, Sinti, and others declared undesirable by the Nazis, in my view, Anne Frank was exterminated by the Nazis, because every single Jew, from baby to the elderly, were marked for extermination. The King said he felt compelled to visit Auschwitz and expressed his concern that time is running out to meet with survivors, to hear their stories. The King is still undergoing treatment for cancer, and this is the first official visit that he will make this year. And finally, yesterday I brought you news that Israeli NGO Smart Aid is operational on the ground in Los Angeles. They will be joined shortly by Israel Aid, one of our foremost humanitarian aid NGOs. They are busy conducting their assessment and preparing their emergency teams and volunteers to head off to Los Angeles. And Zaka, the incredible organization many of you are familiar with, especially following the atrocities of the 7th of October, where it was their job to recover our beloved brothers and sisters who were slaughtered. They have written to authorities in Los Angeles saying this is their area of expertise and offering their assistance. They also made specific mention of Zaka South Africa, who have experience in fighting fires, and this is Israel at our best. Wherever there is a crisis, a disaster, a humanitarian disaster around the world, we will be there to ensure that we can help as much as possible. So those are our top stories. I now go to Cape Town to Martin, who says, is Hamas regrouping? Well, we do believe that under Mohammed Sinwar, he is the brother of Yahya Sinwar, that he is trying to recruit new fighters to join Hamas. This is despite Israel knocking out the vast majority of battalions and leadership. Meanwhile, Hamas has said to their leadership to take cover, to go into hiding, because they believe there could be assassinations ahead of a hostage deal. So I hope that answers your question, Martin, and I can tell you for sure that we are not going to allow Hamas to govern the Gaza Strip. And those are our top stories for today. Guys, don't forget to send your mensch and moron of the week. I can see a recommendation coming in as I record this. And don't forget, if you have a question that you would like asked on the Israel Brief, pop it in the comments section below. In the meantime, don't forget to visit our website at www.layoftheland.online. Our meta page, you see I got it right today, guys, is at Lottel's site. We will have an excellent article later today from Karis Rea. It is all about the emerging woke right in America. Go check that out. And if you like us, like, share, and subscribe. We are on YouTube right here at the Israel Brief, on X at Lay of the Land 5, on LinkedIn at Rolene Marks, and on Instagram at Rolene_Marks. So guys, take care of yourselves, take care of each other. I'm going to catch up on some Z's and get myself a cup of tea, and I will see you tomorrow. God bless.